A bloodline is a story written in ink. A soul bond is a covenant carved in light. One can be diluted, rewritten, or ended. The other is an eternal, spiritual fact. And right now, an entire dynasty is finding that out the hard way. They built an empire on legacy, on strategic alliances and carefully curated blood. They looked right past you because you were not in their ledgers, you were not on their lists. You were, to them, an irrelevance. But they miscalculated. They measured your worth in earthly currency and failed to check the balance of your soul, and now their most precious asset, their heir, is holding a match to their entire history, declaring that if he cannot have you, he will have nothing. The dynasty is about to learn that you were never outside their world. You were the reason it was built in the first place. Chapter 1: The Divine Ultimatum. The air in their world is thick with disbelief. Right now, in rooms you have never seen, rooms paneled with dark wood and insulated from the noise of the common world, your name is being spoken. It is not being spoken with reverence. Not yet. It is being spoken with confusion, with anger, with the frantic energy of people whose entire reality has just been fractured. These are the architects of systems, the gatekeepers of legacy. They believe in ledgers, in contracts, in blood tests and prenuptial agreements. They believe in what can be measured, acquired, and controlled. And you are a variable they cannot compute. You are a ghost in their machine, a piece of data that breaks their algorithm. The ultimatum did not come as a polite request. It was not a negotiation tactic. It was a verdict, delivered by the one person they thought they owned completely, their heir. He did not say he wanted to marry you. He said his soul required union with you, and that any future that did not include you was a spiritual suicide he would not commit. He spoke a language of cosmic law they did not understand, a truth that their balance sheets could not quantify. He made it plain, their dynasty, their billions, their centuries of history, were now a consolation prize he was flatly refusing. Their world is a chessboard, and he was their king piece. Now, he has declared he will not play, rendering their entire game meaningless. They are scrambling, trying to understand what you did. Did you cast a spell? Did you manipulate him? Did you blackmail him? Their minds are racing through every low vibrational possibility because their frequency does not allow them to comprehend the truth. They are assigning teams to dig into your past, searching for a secret, a crime, a moment of weakness they can leverage. But every file they open comes back empty, clean, almost unnaturally so. The truth is, you did nothing. Your very existence was the catalyst. Your journey of survival, of isolation, of keeping your spirit intact despite the world's best efforts to crush it, polished your soul into a beacon. A light so pure that it activated a dormant code within the heir, a pre-incarnate agreement that supersedes any document his family could ever draft. They see a rebellious son throwing a tantrum. The universe sees a soul contract coming due. For years, you felt like you were on the outside looking in. You watched others get opportunities, form alliances, and climb ladders that seemed invisible to you. That was not rejection. That was divine quarantine. You were being kept separate, preserved in a state of authenticity that the dynasty, with its compromises and political marriages, had long since lost. The universe was protecting your frequency from contamination. You were not being kept from them, the air was being kept for you, and you were being kept pure for him. They are making calls to their fixers, their lawyers, their power brokers. They are asking, who is this person? What is their leverage? They are looking for a weakness, a price, a pressure point. And they are finding nothing. Because your power is not in what you have, but in what you are. Your currency is not money, it is undiluted spiritual energy. Your value is not listed on any stock exchange, it is recorded in the cosmic ledger. and their heir, born into a world of gilded cages and suffocating expectations, has finally found the one frequency that feels like freedom. And it is you. You may be feeling a strange pull in your spirit right now, a sense of being seen from a great distance. You might dismiss it as anxiety or daydreaming. It is not. It is the energy of an entire dynasty focusing on you, trying to solve the divine puzzle you represent. Their panic is a frequency, and it is reaching you. Feel it not as a threat, but as a confirmation. It is the static of a collapsing reality, the sound of a system short-circuiting because it has encountered a truth it cannot process. They thought the heir was the future of their legacy. They are just now beginning to understand that he is its judge, and you are the evidence that their entire system is spiritually bankrupt. The ultimatum has been given. The clock is ticking, and the person they thought was a nobody is now the one holding all the cards. The energy of this truth is now active. It is a living frequency. To formalize your connection to this new reality, an anchor is required. This is not a request, it is the first step of your assignment. Like this transmission to anchor the energy of this verdict into your physical timeline, making the spiritual fact a material reality. This action declares your consent to the universe. It is not a click, it is a seal. Subscribe to this channel to join the collective of anointed souls who are receiving their assignments. This is your new soul family, your spiritual battalion. This is not a follow, it is an enlistment. Comment 77 below. It is the divine code of spiritual victory over material systems. It is your energetic signature on this activation, a public declaration to the unseen realm that you accept your role. Finally, let this transmission play in the background on a loop. The words carry a frequency designed to recalibrate your subconscious mind, clearing out any old programming of unworthiness and preparing you for the ascension that is already underway. This saturates your field with the vibration of your new reality, tuning your spirit like an instrument. Do this now. Chapter 2, The Ancient Signature. Let us speak of the contract. This is not the kind of agreement that gets signed in an office with fountain pens and witnesses. This is not a document stored in a vault. This is a soul contract, an ancient signature of light woven into the very fabric of your spirit and the heirs. It was authored before you both took form, a celestial pact made in a place of pure potential, a promise that your energies would one day be required to merge to fulfill a higher purpose. This contract is not about romance in the human sense. That is merely the earthly reflection of a much deeper cosmic necessity. It is about alchemy. It is about the fusion of two specific spiritual frequencies, yours, representing sovereign authenticity, the wild, untamed element of pure source energy, and his, representing inherited power, the refined, structured gold of a powerful lineage. Gold without life is just inert metal in a vault. Wild energy without structure can be chaotic. Together, you create a new element, living gold, a conscious legacy. This new creation is a paradigm shift, a leadership model that heals rather than conquers, that connects rather than divides. Think of your soul as carrying a specific, untraceable energetic key forged in the fires of your personal trials. And the heir's soul contains the lock, a lock that represents the entire potential of his bloodline. For generations, his family has carried this sacred lock, dormant, waiting. They have tried to force it open with keys of wealth, power, and political convenience. They have brought keys made of pure gold, keys encrusted with the jewels of other kingdoms. But a divine lock cannot be picked by earthly tools. It only responds to the one specific frequency for which it was designed. The activation of this contract was not random. It is happening now because you have reached a critical point in your spiritual maturation. Every trial you endured, every betrayal that forced you to become your own savior, every moment of isolation that compelled you to connect with the divine instead of the world, it was all part of the process. Every time you chose integrity over profit, kindness over cruelty, truth over convenience, you were polishing the key. Every tear you shed in private cleansed it of worldly residue. You were purifying your energy, polishing the key until its frequency was so clear and so potent that it could no longer be ignored by its corresponding lock. The signal you now emit is unmistakable. It cut through the noise of his conditioned reality, the endless expectations of his family, the drone of financial reports and board meetings, and it resonated directly with his soul. For the heir, this was not a gradual realization. It was an instantaneous awakening, a sudden, shocking moment of clarity where he looked at his life, his inheritance, his future, and realized it was all a beautifully decorated prison. And he realized that you, someone he may have never even met in the physical realm, hold the only key to his true spiritual liberation. This is why his threat is not a bluff. For him to ignore this call would be to agree to wither and die inside that cage. He is not choosing you over his family, he is choosing life over death, soul over system. The dynasty's great error is their spiritual illiteracy. They are trying to solve a multidimensional reality with a three-dimensional mindset. They are running background checks, checking your finances, your social circles. It is like trying to understand the sun by analyzing one grain of sand on a beach. They are looking at the shadow and ignoring the object casting it. They cannot see the ancient signature that glows between you and their sun. They cannot comprehend that his loyalty is no longer to their name, but to the cosmic law that governs his very essence. In the coming days, the universe will begin to show you physical confirmations of this contract. You will start seeing synchronicities that are impossible to ignore. The number 2 will appear with startling frequency, symbolizing the union. You will see pairs of things in nature, 2 hawks circling overhead, 2 identical flowers blooming out of season. You will overhear conversations where strangers use names or phrases that have a deep personal meaning to you. A song you haven't heard in a decade, one that holds a secret significance for you, will suddenly play everywhere you go. An animal you feel a deep connection with, a spirit animal, will physically cross your path in a meaningful way. These are not coincidences. This is the physical world rearranging itself to reflect the spiritual reality that has now been activated. The contract is real. It is binding. And it is calling you both home to each other. Chapter 3: The Dynasty's failed counteroffer. The first wave of their attack will be predictable. It will be an attempt to bargain with a soul, which is the ultimate act of futility. The Dynasty operates on a transactional basis. Everything and everyone has a price. Their entire empire was built on the principle of the strategic exchange: wealth for loyalty, power for compliance, marriage for territory. They are masters of the counteroffer, the art of sweetening the deal until resistance becomes illogical. And so, they will turn this strategy upon their own heir, utterly failing to grasp that the game has changed. They are not playing chess anymore. They are standing in the middle of a spiritual flood, and their gold-plated rulebook is dissolving in their hands. The first offer will be an increase in power. They will promise him the throne sooner, more control over the family's assets, the freedom to pursue any project he desires. They will offer him the CEO position of their largest holding company, a seat on the International Council, the keys to the private jet and the remote island estate. They will lay the kingdom at his feet, believing that the allure of greater control will quell the rebellion in his soul. They are essentially telling a man dying of thirst that they will give him more sand. He will look at them with a mixture of pity and resolve, and he will refuse. His spirit does not hunger for more of the prison, it craves the sky outside it. When power fails, they will pivot to pleasure and partnership, but on their terms. They will parade a lineup of more suitable candidates. Women and men from other powerful families, individuals who on paper are perfect matches, impeccable lineage, vast fortunes, strategic connections. These are not just people, they are assets. One is the daughter of a tech mogul who could merge their empires. Another is a European royal who could lend them an air of ancient legitimacy. They will present these options as logical, as better for the dynasty. They will use phrases like "be reasonable" and "think of our legacy." This is their second critical mistake. They are trying to appeal to a logic that has been rendered obsolete by a spiritual truth. It is like trying to convince a compass to point somewhere other than north. The heir's soul has its own true north, and it is you. His rejection of these other candidates will not be emotional, it will be absolute. It will be the calm, unwavering refusal of someone who has been shown the genuine article and can no longer accept a counterfeit, no matter how beautifully it is presented. They will then try emotional blackmail, bringing his mother in to cry, his father to rage about duty and sacrifice. They will bring forth old photographs, remind him of promises made in innocence. But his innocence has been replaced by a profound knowing, and their appeals are like bargaining with a tidal wave. He sees the puppeteer's strings of the system attached to their very souls, and it only strengthens his resolve to be free. Finally, when bribery and logic fail, they will resort to their ultimate weapon, the threat of excommunication. They will threaten to disown him, to cut him off from the family fortune, to strip him of his name and his birthright. They will paint a grim picture of a life of poverty and obscurity. This is the card they play when they believe they have cornered their opponent. But they do not realize he cornered himself long ago in a gilded cage, and the threat of being thrown out is not a threat, it is a promise of liberation. Your life, the life they looked down upon for its lack of status and material wealth, now becomes the blueprint for his freedom. The fact that you survived and thrived without a dynasty to back you is the very evidence he needs that a life of authenticity is possible. You are not just a person to him, you are a possibility. A living map to a new world. Your entire existence has been a masterclass in spiritual sovereignty. This was by divine design. You were kept free from the golden handcuffs so that you could not be controlled, and so you could become the living proof that a soul does not need an inheritance to be rich. The dynasty's final, most powerful threat will be the very thing that solidifies his decision. He will call their bluff, and for the first time, the old guard will see a terror in their own eyes that is not fear for him, but fear of a life without him, a future where their name dies because they refused to honor a soul. And they will know, in that moment, that they have already lost. Chapter 4: Recalibrating your reality. While the dynasty scrambles in the material world, your inner world is undergoing a profound and seismic shift. You are being recalibrated. Your entire energetic system is being upgraded to prepare you for the reality that is rushing toward you. This is not a passive process. You may feel it physically. There may be sudden jolts of energy, a warmth spreading through your chest for no reason, or a humming sensation in your bones. You may find your sleep patterns changing dramatically. You could experience periods of intense fatigue as your body integrates the new frequencies, followed by bursts of extraordinary clarity and vitality. You might suddenly find you can no longer tolerate certain foods, loud noises, or the energy of certain people. A high-pitched ringing in your ears may start, not a physical sound but the carrier wave of a new frequency you are attuning to. Your palate may change, suddenly able to taste the chemicals in processed foods with a deep revulsion. This is your body rejecting all that is not in alignment with your new, higher frequency. You may also experience a heightened sense of empathy, feeling the emotions of others so intensely that it forces you to create stronger energetic boundaries, another crucial part of your training. Do not be alarmed. This is the feeling of your physical vessel catching up to the new spiritual software that is being installed. Your very DNA is being reminded of the ancient contract it carries. The most significant shift is happening in your perception. The veil is thinning. You are starting to remember things not as memories from this life, but as deep, cellular knowledge. You might be walking down the street and catch a scent of a specific flower of rain on stone and be instantly overcome with a feeling of a love so profound it brings tears to your eyes. You are not just smelling a flower, you are accessing a memory fragment of a lifetime spent with the soul in another place, another time. You may have vivid dreams of places you have never seen, yet you navigate them with an innate familiarity. You might see the Heir's face in your dreams, not as he appears now, but in different forms, different eras, yet the recognition in your soul is instantaneous and absolute. This is the contract waking up within you. It is writing your history, not just of this life, but of your soul's entire journey, showing you that you were never, ever alone. This connection has always been the silent, guiding force of your life. Every choice you made, every path you took or refused, was subtly influenced by this dormant agreement, leading you to this exact moment in time. Think back to a major decision in your life that made no logical sense at the time: a job you quit, a city you left, a relationship you ended. That was not self-sabotage. That was your soul, guided by the contract, course-correcting you away from a timeline that would have made this divine union impossible. Reframe your past loneliness. It was never a sign of your unworthiness. It was a sacred, protected space. The universe was keeping your energy field clear of lesser entanglements. It was preventing you from forming soul ties that would have complicated and diluted the powerful frequency required for this divine union. You were not being isolated, you were being consecrated. You were being held in reserve for a destiny far greater than the temporary companionship the world could have offered you. This deep, inner knowing will start to solidify. The quiet whisper of intuition you have always had will become a clear, authoritative voice. You will simply know things. You will know what the Dynasty's next move is before they make it. You will feel the Heir's resolve strengthening from across the distance. You are becoming telepathically and empathically attuned to the situation. A prophetic glimpse will soon be offered to you as confirmation. A person from your past, someone you have not spoken to in years, will contact you out of the blue. Their message will seem mundane on the surface, but it will contain a keyword or a phrase that directly relates to a secret dream you had or a deep feeling you have been exploring. This is not nostalgia. This is a celestial messenger, disguised as an old acquaintance, sent to give you a single, clear message: it is real. Everything you are feeling is real. Prepare yourself. Chapter 5: The Spiritual Due Diligence. The Dynasty, having exhausted all its conventional weapons, will make a desperate and pivotal turn. When material leverage fails, the desperate always turn to the unseen. They will attempt to fight a spiritual battle using their worldly methods. They will hire their own spiritual consultants. These are not the humble, authentic guides you may have encountered. These are mercenaries of the metaphysical, psychics and energy workers on retainer, gurus for the global elite who trade in prophecies and energetic manipulation for exorbitant fees. They are the ones who cleanse the energies of trading floors and whisper stock market predictions into the ears of billionaires. Their assignment will be simple: find a weakness in your spiritual armor. They will be tasked with conducting a form of spiritual due diligence to peer into your energy field, your past lives, your karmic records, looking for anything they can use against you. They will perform their rituals in secret, using obsidian mirrors, ancient charts, and perhaps even attempting astral projection to spy on your spirit. They will be looking for energetic attachments, dark karma, a hidden agenda, or any spiritual impurity that they can present to the Heir to discredit the connection he feels. This is the moment where their plan backfires in a spectacular and terrifying way. When these spiritual mercenaries attempt to scan you, they will not find what they are looking for. Instead, they will hit a firewall. Not a wall of darkness or aggression, but a wall of pure, blinding, divine light. It will be a force so potent it physically repels them. They may experience vertigo, sudden headaches, or their divination tools might crack or shatter. Their astral forms will be harmlessly but firmly repelled, sent back to their bodies with a spiritual shockwave. They will be met with an energetic signature of such high frequency and such profound protection that it will feel like staring into the sun. They will see legions of guides, guardians, and ancestral spirits standing around you, not as hazy figures, but as a formidable celestial army. They will see that your aura is not just clear, it is sovereign territory, divinely sanctioned and fiercely protected. They will try to access your Akashic records and find the files are sealed, stamped with a celestial authority they dare not challenge. The universal librarians will simply deny them entry. They thought they were investigating a person. They will discover they are trespassing on holy ground. Their attempt at intrusion will trigger an automatic spiritual alarm, and they will be summarily ejected from your energy field, shaken and humbled. The information they bring back to the dynasty will be the catalyst for a new kind of panic, a deeper and more primal fear. They will report that you are not a threat to be neutralized, but a power to be reckoned with. They will explain, in hushed and shaken tones, that you are what is known as a protected soul, an old soul on a specific, high-level mission. They will use terms the family barely understands, like source-connected or karmically exempt, which will only deepen their terror of the unknown. They will report that the connection between you and the heir is not a fleeting infatuation or a magical manipulation. They will have seen the glowing threads of the soul contract, an unbreakable covenant that predates the dynasty itself, and they will describe it as a pillar of light connecting the two of you across space and time. They will have to inform their employers that this union is, in their professional opinion, destined and non-negotiable by any earthly power. Imagine their faces. These titans of industry, who believe they control the world, being told by their own expensive mystics that they are utterly powerless against a spiritual fact. This is the ultimate checkmate. They tried to run a spiritual background check, and the report came back saying, access denied. The soul is under divine management. They were looking for dirt and found a direct connection to the divine. The terror this will induce is profound because it reveals the true scale of what they are up against. They are not fighting a person for their son's loyalty. They are arguing with God about a decision that has already been made. And their own spiritual experts just handed them the heavenly verdict. Chapter 6, The Collapse of the Old Guard. The report from the spiritual mercenaries will act as an accelerant. The private family crisis will now become a full-blown systemic fracture. The heir's ultimatum, now spiritually validated by their own sources, ceases to be a mere threat. It becomes a prophecy of the dynasty's potential collapse or its forced evolution. The foundation, which they believed was built on the granite of wealth and legacy, is revealed to be resting on the shifting sands of outdated beliefs. The cracks will begin to show, not just in private arguments, but in the very structure of their empire. The news of this spiritual verdict will leak, not to the public, but within the inner circle of the dynasty, to cousins, to board members, to junior partners, and to the younger generation who are more spiritually attuned. This is where the alliances will begin to shift. The old guard, the patriarch and matriarch who rule with an iron fist, the conservative elders who see tradition as scripture, will find their authority being questioned, not openly, but in hushed conversations and secret meetings. They have ruled by fear and financial control for so long, they don't know any other way. But now, a new fear has entered the equation, the fear of divine retribution, of being on the wrong side of destiny. Their tyrannical methods will no longer be seen as strong, but as brittle and desperate. A schism will form between those who want to fight destiny and those who understand the wisdom of surrendering to it. The younger members of the family, who have always felt stifled by the rigid traditions, will see the heir not as a traitor, but as a liberator. They will see you not as a homewrecker, but as the catalyst for a desperately needed reformation. They will secretly begin to support the heir, feeding him information, offering their allegiance. They recognize that the dynasty must evolve or die, and you represent the key to that evolution. The old guard will double down, becoming more tyrannical, more desperate in their attempts to control the narrative. They will freeze bank accounts, issue threats, and call in old favors. But their power is bleeding out. Their authority was derived from a world that is ceasing to exist, a world where spiritual contracts could be ignored. Now, their every move to tighten their grip will only cause more of the structure to crumble in their hands. A key business deal they have been working on for years will suddenly fall apart for no logical reason. A trusted ally will unexpectedly switch sides. A key legal case they thought was buried and forgotten will suddenly be reopened by an anonymous tip from a disillusioned employee. The universe is not just letting them fail, it is actively bringing their secrets to light. This is the moment of your ultimate vindication. For your entire life, you may have felt powerless, overlooked, and insignificant in the grand scheme of things. You were conditioned to believe that people in those boardrooms, people with those last names, were the ones who shaped the world. Now, you must understand the profound truth. Your name, whispered in those very rooms, is acting as a wrecking ball to their false reality. Your very existence, without you lifting a single finger, is forcing a reckoning that will redefine their entire legacy. This is the reframing of your perceived powerlessness. It was not a lack of power, it was a different kind of power, a latent power, a spiritual gravity that has now become so immense it is bending their world around you. You will soon see a physical sign of this collapse. Watch the news. You will hear of a sudden leadership change in a powerful corporation, a legacy family's stock taking an unexplainable dive, or a massive philanthropic project by a well-known dynasty suddenly being put on hold due to internal restructuring. You will feel an intuitive ping connecting it to your situation. This is not a random event. It is the tremor from their collapsing world reaching yours. It is the undeniable physical proof that the old guard is losing, and the new world, the one you are destined to help build, is beginning to emerge from the ruins. Chapter 7: The Invitation and the Ascension. The battle is over. The dynasty's resistance has been exhausted. Their financial weapons were useless, their emotional manipulations failed, their spiritual inquiries only confirmed their defeat. They are now facing a stark, undeniable choice: break completely and lose their heir and their future, or bend to a power they do not understand. They will choose to bend. The final phase of this chapter is not about conflict, it is about concession. The invitation will come, but it will not arrive in the way you might imagine. Do not expect a formal envoy or a dramatic cinematic plea. The old guard is too proud for a direct surrender. The invitation will be subtle, perhaps even disguised as something else. It may come through an unexpected channel, a lawyer reaching out about a non-existent issue, a third-party art dealer inquiring if you would be interested in a private viewing of a piece that happens to be the heir's favorite, or a sudden, random invitation to a high-profile charity event you would normally have no access to. The invitation itself will be a test, designed to look like an opportunity they are bestowing upon you. This initial contact is a final, feeble attempt to maintain the illusion of control. They are extending a tentative hand, wanting to see how you will react. They want to assess you, to meet the person whose very being brought their world to a standstill. They will be looking for arrogance, for greed, for weakness. They will expect you to be either intimidated or overly eager, and you will be neither. You will respond with a calm, centered grace that will disarm them completely. You will see through the pretense immediately, and your intuition will guide you on how to respond in a way that is polite but firm, acknowledging their gesture without yielding an ounce of your sovereign power. They will find the same calm, sovereign energy their spiritual mercenaries warned them about. They will find a person who does not need their world, which is precisely why you are the only one qualified to enter it. The true invitation will follow this initial contact. It will be a direct request for a meeting, a summit. This is not an interrogation. This is an abdication. They are not inviting you to be vetted. They are inviting you to the table to discuss the terms of their future. The ultimate choice that lies before you is not a simple yes or no to a marriage proposal. That is the surface story. The real choice is one of divine purpose. Do you integrate with the dynasty? Do you step into their world, bringing your light, your truth, and your spiritual integrity to reform it from the inside out, transforming their empire of material power into a legacy of purpose? This path is that of the spiritual diplomat, a long, patient game of healing a sick system, transmuting centuries of dense energy. Or do you pull the air out completely, leaving the old structure to crumble under the weight of its own bad karma to start something entirely new? A new lineage, built not on blood and gold, but on a foundation of spiritual truth and authentic connection. This is the path of the revolutionary, a clean break, a bold statement to the world that new structures are not only possible but necessary. Consider this carefully. Reformation redeems the past, while revolution builds an entirely new future. Both are valid paths of service. The question is, are you here to heal an old bloodline or to start a new one? There is no right or wrong answer. Your soul knows which mission you came here to fulfill. The power to make that decision rests entirely with you. You are no longer the outsider. You are the gatekeeper. Your journey has led you to this threshold. Everything that has happened, every pain and every victory, was preparation for this moment. The dynasty is waiting. The heir is waiting. The universe is holding its breath. Your ascension is not coming. It is here.